a man who was honored to have the Ark of the Lord guarded by his family in Old Testament times, but who met a tragic end after carelessly touching it, was Uzzah. He was the son of Abinadab, the very man who welcomed the Ark of the Covenant into his home shortly after the misfortunes that befell the Philistines. What is most striking about Uzzah's story is, without a doubt, the fact that God struck him. To say that God struck or killed someone may sound strange to those who forget that He is the author of life and that He grants or takes it away at His will, without accountability to anyone. This does not make God unjust or evil. On the contrary, stories like Uzzah's demonstrate that the Lord is absolutely just and holy, as well as entirely merciful, kind, and loving. One divine attribute never cancels out the other. Even so, many question the severity of God's judgment against Uzzah. Was the punishment excessive? Simply because he touched the ark while trying to hold it? Was it such a serious mistake? And why did Uzzah die from touching the ark, when the Philistines had also handled it before him, and Scripture records no immediate death from it? If you have difficulty understanding this episode, watch this video until the end, because here we will explain who Uzzah was and understand why he was punished by the Lord. As mentioned, Uzzah was the son of a man named Abinadab. The Bible records that he had two brothers, Eleazar and Ahio. The latter was even present at the time of the incident that cost Uzzah his life. Some scholars suggest that Uzzah and Ahio were not Abinadab's direct sons, but rather his descendants, possibly grandsons. In any case, they belonged to his household. To better understand this story, it is necessary to go back a little further in time, even before the prophet Samuel's period of leadership. The Scriptures record that when the Israelites were defeated by the Philistines, following the death of the priests Hophni and Phinehas, sons of the high priest Eli, the Ark of the Covenant was captured by the enemy. The Philistines took it to their cities, but were punished by the Lord. Frightened and no longer able to bear the calamities that were falling upon them, they realized that the ark needed to be returned to Israel. Then the ark arrived at Kiriath-Jearim. The men of that place took it to the house of Abinadab and consecrated his son Eleazar to care for it. Many years later, when David was already reigning over Israel, he decided to transport the ark of the Lord to Jerusalem, consolidating the city as the religious center of the people. However, the mission turned into a major disaster. The Bible records that they placed the ark on a new cart pulled by oxen, with Uzzah and Ahio responsible for driving the cart. Initially, the transport was accompanied by a large entourage that celebrated before the Lord, but when they came to Nachon's threshing floor, the oxen stumbled or stirred, causing the ark to tilt. At that moment, Uzzah, without thinking, reached out his hand to catch it, and the Lord's anger burned against him. The biblical text states that God struck him, and he died right there, beside the ark. That place came to be called Perez Uzzah, a name that refers to the outburst of divine wrath against him. The episode deeply troubled King David. He began to fear the Lord and gave up on taking the ark to Jerusalem. Instead, it was sent to the house of a man named Obed-Edom, where it remained for 3 months. But the question arises, why did Uzzah die after touching the ark? According to 2 Samuel 6-7, Uzzah was punished because his actions were considered irreverent. After so many years of the ark being in his home, he acted carelessly and violated the sacred character of that object, which symbolized God's presence among his people. Furthermore, the transportation was being done completely incorrectly according to divine instructions. In Numbers 4, God commands that the Kohathites, the family of Levites, to whom the priestly lineage belonged, should carry the ark on their shoulders. That day, however, they chose to place her on an ox cart, just as the Philistines had done when they captured her. In other words, the covenant people themselves treated the ultimate symbol of the divine presence as the pagan nations had treated it. And as for the Philistines, why didn't they die when they touched the ark? God allowed it to be taken by them as a judgment against Israel. More than that, it was a way of demonstrating his power before foreign peoples, for while he was among them, calamities fell upon their cities, and their chief god, Dagon, was humiliated when his statue lost its head before the ark. In the case of Uzzah, the situation was different. His family had cared for the ark for years, and they were likely Levites, well aware of the rules for its transportation. Ignoring these commandments was a grave mistake. The punishment, therefore, had a pedagogical character, to show that the things of God cannot be treated irreverently or according to human methods. If you're not yet subscribed to our channel, subscribe now and become a member to access exclusive content, Here's a full video about the Ark of the Covenant, so you can better understand its significance in Scripture.